the bishop's wife. I'd never heard of it.
Cary Grant?
Yeah, well, Cary Grant.
And then David Niven?
Yes.
And then, that's... and then reading a little bit about it and saying, that's going to be a nice movie. It's going to be a nice movie. The worst thing I was going to think this movie is going to be accused of, even before having seen it, it was just too inane. And
But was it?
So we'd watch it. So
yeah, we watched it, and I was seriously pleasantly surprised, and I was very happy not to know anything about it, because I could go, is he an angel? I think he's an angel.
Yeah.
And it's just the smile on Cary Grant's face throughout the whole thing, and he's just like, he's enjoying it so much. And that's what I would want an angel who comes down to earth. I would want him to feel like that. Him, her, whatever, it. Them.
Them.
I would want them to really enjoy humanity. And so that was just like, I was like, it's perfect casting. Then I looked at, how was this thing cast? Cary Grant was an afterthought. Yes. They had another guy, I don't know, I just look it up. Had another guy, and then David Niven was supposed to play the angel,
which he could have done really well.
And it makes a lot of sense because he's the Brit.
Yeah, and he has that outer world. David Niven can have that outer worldliness, whereas Cary Grant does not have an outer worldliness. He has other qualities, but not an outer worldliness.
And that's what makes this brilliant, because stuff happened and they had to shuffle some actors around, and then they brought in Cary Grant, and Cary Grant said, but I want to play that angel. And I think that's brilliant, because it's not the big powerhouse guy playing the big
macho lover.
Lover bishop. Okay, fine. And with the major romance, he's an angel, and he's never gonna get the girl, and he knows that, and it's just like, I thought that was brilliant.
What I really enjoyed about the movie, physically enjoyed about the movie, is that it gives Cary Grant, who is a very charming guy, a chance to unabashedly flirt with a very nice, pretty lady, without there being any plot device to it other than that. He's just flirting with her, and he's not going anywhere, because we already know that she actually doesn't, but he can put on all the flirties and have all the funs with that, and it not be part of something, and that was really nice.
Yeah,
I mean,
I love that.
I almost, because I didn't know about the shuffling, I almost thought this the entire movie was just an excuse to have him just flirt for an hour and a half.
Yeah, and not only with her, but with
everybody,
including the guys, but also with every woman that comes close to him. That just walk up to him and go, oh yeah, I was doing something. And you go with Cary Grant, you're going, yep, that's what I would feel like too.
But he flirts.
Even the guys are just completely enamored of him.
That he flirts or is emotional, open with everybody equally, including the professor who is an atheist. Because this is a Christian. This is not a Christian story with a little big crosses on it, but it is about a bishop, and it is about a Christian angel. But then he meets this atheist professor who was in the purview of the bishop when he was not a bishop. I think, because they didn't explain it, but I think the professor was a teacher at the school in which the bishop learned history. For the seminary school, you will have religious subjects, but you will also have history. And so he was probably either at a university nearby where they sent these people, but he is atheist and comes into the purview of this bishop, which is interesting.
At the very least, he's a good friend of the bishop's wife, and she talks about constantly that she so misses living in that parish. So the backstory, which isn't clearly stated in the thing, is that they left the
little
parish,
church. Yeah, the little church.
the St. Timothy's church. They left it, and then the Bishop Henry got promoted
To bishop, dus.
or possibly to bishop, and had to then take on creating that cathedral. It's a case of being promoted to your level of incompetence, or at least he was taken out. He is incompetent in it because he completely loses what he was
What's supposed to be about,
or a spiritual leader is. And literally the first 3/4 of the movie, he is on that track. He's still trying to build that $4 million cathedral. He's trying to get that money from the woman with the lots of money, Mrs.
The rich lady.
Yeah,
Mrs. Rich Lady. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm just, he doesn't stop to ask anybody for what they want, what it's good for, and even when Dudley the angel says, "Okay, what are you doing this for? Wouldn't it be better to spend $4 million on little houses with little roofs and little plates of food for people who are hungry?" And he just puts it in such simple terminology, and it's still going whoosh for our bishop dude.
Yeah.
I thought partway through the movie, he's not going to be redeemable. It's
not that kind of movie.
Is Dudley there for the wife?
It's called The Bishop's Wife. It's not called The Bishop.
I know. So I thought halfway through, maybe she prayed for, he says Henry prayed for guidance, and that's what he's there to give. And he certainly did that. He didn't pray for getting the cathedral. I think that is actually a proper prayer, is please guide me, rather than please help me make a cathedral.
It's possible that he said, "Please guide me to make a cathedral," and God only picked up on the first bits because
your first half was okay. The rest we'll just we'll skip that. We're sending you the right angel for this.
Yes.
I also loved that the Dudley actually did fall in love, to the point that he was like, he enjoyed her so much that he really said, "Okay, I'm glad I can't be posted to the same place twice, because this is temptation."
Yeah, but
she was lovely.
She had to send him away.
Yeah, and she did, because that was never her intent. And he let it happen, but I think it was probably a growing moment for him as an angel, to go, wow, I can actually be tempted by how wonderful a human being can be.
Yeah.
And want to change teams here. Go from angel to human. And
I don't know. I don't even know if that's actually an option in this lore for him to go to human if he fell for human.
He did have a lot of powers, and you never knew what other powers he had. One scene that I absolutely think is epic from this film is the boys' choir scene. I immediately replayed that. I was like, this is so good. I mean, it's an absolute fantastic boys' choir, them to start with. They got, I believe it's an original song. They played "Oh Sing to God," which I'd never heard before, and then him directing them in, saying, "Oh no, Pastor, there's no problem. We're going to have them in."
Just start singing. Let the first boy and the second boy who are there just start, and then all of a sudden, all these kids come out of doors and wherever. They just come in and take off the hats and start singing.
And the cinematography, very simple, but on his face, and just the boys just keep appearing, and he just keeps doing that, and then we see her reacting to it, and. What I loved, there were only like 4 adults in the actual room. They weren't playing to an audience. They were just doing it because she showed up, and with her friend, who, as we know, is an angel, but hey,
nobody else knew.
Yeah, they don't know that. And then the amount of like silence instead of applause, and she comes to them and she shows her appreciation and keeps saying, I haven't seen you since we left. So it must actually been a few years that they've been at that new parish. And I really thought the ending of the movie was going to be them moving back to the parish. I mean, Henry does do the...
You can't go back. I think
he
can't go back. Once he's a bishop, he has to do bishop stuff. However, he can then put his effort not in to make a cathedral. He can put it in the individual churches of the diocese. It's the diocese is what a bishop rules.
Yeah, I looked it up. It's probably Lutheran.
Yeah, it's not Catholic because Catholic priests are not supposed to marry, so that's the thing.
So I had to look that up, and it's you only have Anglicans and Lutherans that have bishops that I could find. I'm happy to be corrected in the notes, in the comments. But it's probably Lutheran. So he can be a proper bishop and he can have a wife. And
a baby.
And a kid. They involved... Oh, the kids. So the little girl is from It's a Wonderful Life. She's little Zuzu. Zuzu's rose petals. Nobody can ever forget those. And the boy when they go before they do the big ice skating thing, but when they go snowball fighting with the kids, the boy is the young boy who plays the young version.
I recognized him immediately because
so it's
the same floppy hair.
Yeah, and it's almost the same year as far as I believe. It's a Wonderful Life is also from 47.
Yeah, 46 or 47. Yes, yes. It's gonna. The Zuzu is young. Kids grow up real fast, so you better be fast. Another interesting person who is in there, and I was just the other day watching these movies for a review, and you will have seen the review before this one comes out on that. And the lady who plays the maid, they have two maids. They have a cook and a maid.
Yeah.
But the maid who sort of more moves around the house with nice big round eyes. Matilda, she's a British actress, Elsa Lancaster, who played the bride of Frankenstein in Frankenstein. And she is married she was married for a very long time to Charles Laughton, and who is a British actor. She's British as well, but that's why they were in Hollywood. And the bride of Frankenstein is 1935, and this is 47. So... Mm-hmm. So I was sort of going, but I saw that lady just the other day, and and people have seen Bride of Frankenstein. She's full makeup up and has a dramatic everything, and I still recognize her. And she doesn't say anything in Bride of Frankenstein. So
okay,
so that one's a known lady, and I think the professor, I've seen him in something. I couldn't quite say right now, but I've seen him in something.
Yeah, I felt the professor one was an interesting item. He's just known as the Professor Butteridge, so it's not really. But his storyline, because when he appears, he's having this discussion that he's buying a tiny little Christmas tree because he likes to. So he likes the niceness of Christmas and all of that.
But it's a very shitty Christmas tree. And I think...
It's a very...
I was looking at the actual image of him holding this little Christmas tree and they're talking. And this Christmas tree is the saddest thing you ever saw. And I think it's actually not a part of the story, but I think they did it so that when it moves around, you can still see everybody next to it. Because otherwise the thing is very quickly too big. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking.
It was literally this size.
Yeah, but it was so thinly branched.
Yeah. That could be definitely it. And then they make a big deal out of him. They say non-religious, but they really want to say is atheist. And possibly that word was not okay to use for the haze code. So, and then I thought, oh, that's so cool. So. There's a scene in Supernatural where Castiel, who's an angel, comes to the door of somebody's house, and this is he knows this guy is one of the prophets, and guy opens up. It's exactly the same guy, It's like it's the same professor guy. He opens up the door and says, "I'm an angel," and then the professor says, "No, that's not possible." Oh, says Castiel, "Why not?" He says, "Because I'm an atheist."
that's not
the bad news after that was it's not just I'm an angel, but you're a prophet. So hey, deal with it. I love that dynamic that they throw an atheist in the mix.
Yeah,
and they don't make judgments over it.
No, but they did all right up to the very last scene where they there's a but. When they at the end the bishop actually holds a sermon in the church, and I think probably Christmas the Christmas sermon, and I think that is because it was the Christmas sermon and this professor does live in that neighborhood, he can come as a community event. He doesn't have to come religiously, even though this movie does intend him to come religiously.
They imply it heavily.
However, if he is a real atheist, and they exist, you can still go to a Christmas service because of the cultural and it being his friend and acquaintances and all that sort of thing.
The social aspect,
you don't have to say that now he is converted. I don't have to say that.
I agree that it doesn't necessarily need to mean that the professor has converted. I feel that the movie does have that message.
Sure.
And
but
that he was converted, but there's a whole wine thing. So they got the bottle, and so when I started with the wine thing, I wasn't quite sure why Dudley was doing that. Maybe just because...
Just to mess with the guy.
Yeah, I think the answer is to mess with the guy. I thought it was because the guy was fairly poor, because he was haggling down the Christmas tree.
Yeah, he was...
And he was not getting his book done, so basically his income is very low and all of that. And it's clearly a much more needy neighborhood that they are living in the St. Timothy's neighborhood, than where they came from, than where they're now. So I'm constantly going back to that neighborhood. I also felt at the beginning when Julia goes up to look at the hat,
the horrible. We'll get into that later.
And the thing is, it actually it goes on through the whole film, right? And they live in opulence in the manse where they are, the bishop's home, with servants and an assistant and all of that, but they own nothing. And their income is clearly, super small, because it's like including room and board. Yeah. So what do you have left? Some income for frivolities, for your personal clothing, for the kid. It's gonna be the last thing on the list of things to buy is a new fun hat. Yeah. And that's only if you don't have any expendable income.
Yeah, I have a bunch of issues with the hat.
Okay, let's go.
One.
While I put my hat in good order here.
This is 47, and this is not a good year for fashion. That hat is ugly. It's fugly, so fugly. I mean, you be like 10 years earlier. You have nice, dainty little hats for ladies, and in the 50s you have better. 10 years later, have better hats. This is bad.
The 50s hats, yes.
Yeah, and that's. I will put some pictures up.
But even the 30s hats.
At least they were not this fugly. These are more,
this was hard.
The 30s at least made everything Art Deco, which is like geometrical and simple. And this is so fussy and annoying. The other problem I have with this hat is...
It's a no on the hat over here.
Who paid for it?
Yeah, yes. So this is the thing. I think Dudley paid for it.
No, he has no money.
Yeah.
All the other times he gets stuff out of people, he basically sweet talks them into handing it over, and we didn't see it about the hats. No. Because...
But he felt that she deserved
but she doesn't have any
something.
Money.
No, but he kind of said, well, kind of, he that entire afternoon where he just coaxes her out and says, you can have some fun. You don't have to just only be the wife, the mother, etc. Which I don't know if that was his job to do. but it's called the bishop's wife. It's not called the bishop's trying to get a cathedral built with and having needs to reposition his priorities. It's the bishop's wife. So this hat, for some reason, was integral to whatever he was there for the bishop's wife.
I understand, but if you're going to show him sweet talking the cabbie into giving him a free ride into other people, into the bishop paying for stuff, he actually hands over money at some point to the angel because he doesn't have any money.
She, in the beginning scene, she has the Christmas tree laid away because she has no money. She will have it by Christmas Eve. But Christmas Eve, she wants the Christmas tree to come to the house. Who gets a Christmas tree Christmas Eve? That is far too late.
Was it a layaway? Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought it was just...
Well, layaway, and so she chose one, and she said, and we can't pay for it right now. It will be later.
Okay. I missed that.
But no. And the thing is, it's very clear. And then she goes and looks at the hat that she can't buy. So it's establishing they have no money, not even for Christmas decorations.
I understand all that. The thing is that the film made a mistake in not explaining who paid for the hat.
Yeah. Yes, who paid for the hat?
Because
I think she did
the
pay
milliner.
For the hat.
The milliner. I mean, it's up.
He can't sweet talk the.
It's already iffy talking and sweet talking cabbie out of his fare, but sweet talking a milliner out of their hats.
Well, he gave the cabbie a
really good experience,
cool day.
So that was good
and
exchange.
And you can't do that with the hat lady because you didn't give the hat lady a cool day.
And maybe he went off stage and did the hat lady a favor, but the film didn't say. Okay, so that's just a mistake in the film.
It is an open hole in the plot that needs to be Okay.
Size of truck.
Size of truck. Okay.
Drive-through.
Yeah.
Other than that, the clothing. So 1947 is, like I said, not a great year for fashion. It is everybody's wearing fashion. That's the thing. This at some point fashion stopped being interesting to people, but everybody's wearing it. What I actually liked about the looks was there's a very shot at the beginning where he's just walking through the streets and there's all these little kids, and it's just a lovely shot. It's one of the thing is full of lovely shots.
And it's very well shot. Direction is great. He walks down the street, and you can see all he's wearing is a suit, whereas everybody else is wearing an overcoat. So Matilda, the maid or the housekeeper, she at one point she's like, no, you need a proper overcoat. So let's go into the bishop's wardrobe and get you an overcoat. And then she adds the shawl and she says, I gave that to him for Christmas, but he doesn't wear it. And then, but the thing is the oozing of the charm from Cary Grant. I mean, anybody would give him a shawl because it's like, oh my God, he's just absolutely, he just melts.
And then I think overall the entire excuse of this movie is just watching Cary Grant be charming for an hour and a half.
Well, this is okay. So this movie had problems. No, it's true. The movie had problems getting an audience, so they brought it out, and people thought it was a religious movie. Where this is not more religious than the Bells of St. Mary's, that kind of thing. It's just
the Bells of St. Mary's is plenty religious.
No, so this is less religious, really. But no,
this is. I would call this a rom-com with a religious slant. Yes.
Yes, the com part I have an issue with. So we can come back to that later.
It's that
the comedy part.
Com part in rom-com doesn't have to be rolling on the floor funny. Well, it just have to make you smile.
The David Niven thing with the chair, I was like, oh, that's slapstick, sorry. And the only reason that it's palatable is because he pulls it off with a straight face.
Very straight.
He never breaks character, ever.
And you feel, as the audience, that he kind of deserved it.
Yeah, because he wasn't
being a dick.
I'm sorry. That's just why does she even love him?
So he deserves it. What I actually thought
ugh.
about that scene is because he gets stuck in the chair, but he's with the patron lady who is trying to make him make all the wrong decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that they were going to spend the time talking it out. But that never happened, which is rather a shame, because he's there for hours at least, when he should have been a meeting for about half an hour and then go away. But now he's stuck and he can't go anywhere. And I was thinking...
He does nothing with that.
He does nothing with that time.
He could have had a really good one-on-one session with the old lady.
And it's possible that it is a revision in the script that is just unplanned and therefore not incorporated. Because I have seen that in other movies, especially earlier movies, where you have a script and you can and you know what the original story should have been because it's after a book, and then you see the script and they wanted to put in that and now they have to go sideways to get there. And so I think maybe they just
because I need
put
that
in something
time.
else or took out something else and then put it this back in.
Because during that time Henry takes Julia out to the hat place, the skating, and they come home
all day.
late.
They're all
late
day.
At night they come home, and
so they need him to be literally stuck somewhere else.
Yeah.
But apparently forgot that they also have to further his plot while they're doing it.
They could have
They should have done that. He should have talked to the lady.
If he was a good pastor, bishop, then he would have taken the time with, and the lady is called Mrs. Hamilton because I just looked it up. Otherwise, it's just like the old lady. But he could have.
She was very good, by the way. I liked her.
Yes, she was excellent.
Everybody was excellent in this thing.
Literally everybody. I felt. I mean, I was annoyed with Henry because he's just such a doofus. But he was also excellent.
It was in character annoyed with him.
I would say that you really absolutely need somebody of the caliber of David Niven or Cary Grant or anybody else who they try to cast for it to play this role, because it is it's one of those roles that you're certainly going to be just.
You can be a stuffed shirt. You can be a stuffed shirt in either of either as the angel or as the bishop. You can be a stuffed shirt, or as the girl, the wife, as Julia could also have been a stuffed shirt. But they're not. They're ever
not
all
even
of them.
Matilda, not Mrs. Hamilton. Everybody is like, oh, I think Henry is a stuffed shirt. I think that's his role.
And Mrs. Hamilton was a stuffed shirt until Dudley got to it.
I mean, like literally.
That's the job.
How vehemently. She was into, I must have this cathedral and then half of it has to be dedicated to my late husband, and then she talks to Dudley, which such a beautiful scene. Like all the scenes with Dudley is just everybody who he interacts with, even when he's trying to talk sense into Henry. He's still there. He's there for it. He's probably seen it 1,000 times over. I mean, he does a lot of jobs, right? He goes from job to job. He may have felt that Henry wasn't that far gone, or if he is that far gone, that it's a good challenge for an angel to take. Yeah. I did want to say one thing about the clothing. When they show it twice, Julia wears overshoes outside.
Because it's snowing, yes.
Yes, and it's like a boot that goes around her actual indoor shoes.
Yes.
And I'd never seen that before.
That was a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She needs help getting them off every single time. That may be just because otherwise she'd have to sit down and it doesn't look good on film. But I thought it was interesting that they showed it. Yeah,
that is maybe a film, a reason to watch a film from 47 that is set in 47, because you get to see how people actually move with the stuff. The overshoes and the little kids in the street and just the street scene. I mean, it's artificial, but it's only artificial up to a certain point, because they're going to be wearing clothing that people wore in 47, and that'll be actual.
And that's about the choir, which is a proper choir. There's something Mitchell Choir.
Yeah, Mitchell boy choir.
Yeah, Mitchell Boys Choir. They, all the kids were white. It was a boys' choir, so they're boys.
There's not anything
but
dark.
all the kids are white. However, when you go back to, I think it's 1942 or 1, when they made Going My Way with Bing Crosby, he has a boys' choir in that. The kids are a little younger, and they are specifically mixed. They have close-ups of the little black boy and I think a little Asian boy.
Yeah, in 47 they weren't doing that anymore.
That was either it's time passing and they're not doing it anymore.
That's it.
And it goes into the 50s where it's like a super segregated society.
Yeah, it got worse. It
got worse, yeah, before it got better. And Bing Crosby was always very much into like the jazz musicians, and he promoted black music.
Definitely, but it actually did get worse, and it gets worse from here on as well. I mean, from here on, blacks have to have their own movies because otherwise they don't get a screen time at all. Before this as well, but yeah, there's black made movies. There would be somebody like a servant. At least there would be one black face. No, literally face
there was
in
nobody in this movie.
and not in this movie. No. And it's of course set in the city, but there are blacks in the city.
Well, yeah,
but
yeah, and it's a rundown neighborhood, so yeah. But so
that's not what the movie is about.
Total segregation, clearly. We had some things about the harp.
Yeah,
it was very well filmed.
It was very well filmed.
It was beautifully done.
Of course, because Cary Grant plays an angel. What does an angel play? Not the piano, because Cary Grant actually could play the piano. I'm gonna look that up. No, he plays a harp because angels plays harps.
Yes.
And I was watching this.
He bumps into the harp and he just smiled. He smiles even more, but he smiled. It's like, yes, angel harp.
And I was looking at him playing, and I had just quite recently watched a YouTuber play some Legend of Zelda music
on a harp. Okay.
And I was going, that's actually correct. Let me look it up. Can Cary Grant play a harp? No, he can play piano.
He cannot play harp.
He cannot play harp. Yeah. However,
yes,
we found.
Yes, I found that too. Yes,
it is beautifully trick shot because it is completely a trick. It is a chappie called Glenn Laughton who plays the harp. He is actually a jazz harpist.
You know,
and when I looked him up, there's actually not that much known. There's not a picture. I will try to find another picture in post, but there wasn't much. However, there was a post of somebody saying, is this Laughton maybe related to the other Laughton, Charles Laughton? And then somebody else replied underneath and said, I am the great grandson of the father of this Glenn Laughton, and yes, in the family there was talk of Laughton, but nobody has ever been able to prove it. So probably not, but we don't know. Right. But at least there is a lineage of this guy. It's sideways, so.
So they superimposed the hands over Grant's smiling face.
And it is completely, if you don't know it, you cannot. I didn't see it. I saw it. You saw it right away?
I could see it.
You could see it. Okay, I wasn't.
But also because I play instruments and I can almost immediately tell whether or not they're doing fakery. That is like great. Oh, the shot of the back of the head, and he's doing the right movements. Aha, that's not him. But then I rewound it. The first time he sits down, it's him. You can see his profile. I mean, it is Cary Grant. He sits down. He has the harp come to his shoulder, and he starts the first movements. Now, the ending of the last notes of that are low, and he actually goes up high because that's kind of the movement you do. But most of it looks pretty correct in the sort of the right range of that harp. If you're a pianist, which is also a range, you know about ranges.
He knows about those stats.
He practiced enough to fake it. And this they often do this, that they have like do the first 5 bars and then so that they can make the shot so that the hands can be seen, and then they take over with the professional. Yeah. And it's so good. This is very well done.
They had some experience because, again, when I looked at this Glenn Laughton, he was actually the the harp double for Harpo Marx, who was called Harpo Marx because he did play the harp. However, because he was also had to be on film so much, he didn't actually have time to study the pieces enough.
Is this the Marx Brothers one?
Yes.
Oh.
And so they had Harpo, when he was actually supposed to do any harp stuff, he would just do the start, and then they put this guy in to do the rest. And so they have lots of experience with this. They used the exact same technique, except different subject, for the skating. Because you can see there is Cary skating away. He can skate.
Yes.
But once you get a little bit far enough, it's another guy who has got pretty much the same silhouette who does all the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
And even when he and she skates, I think with the taxi driver, and I think those are also faked. They're not them as well.
Yeah, that's correct. Anytime there's a wide shot,
that's not them.
And there's a moving shot, but when you see their faces, that's the only time that you know for sure that's them. But Cary Grant got on that ice very sure of himself. I mean, he's solid on skates, and then. I don't know about her skills, but all you need at that point is to at least somebody. It's like
not falling your face.
Dancing. If you're a good follower and the guy is a good leader, then as a woman you can pretty much make it look like you know what you're doing. She
at least can stand on skates. I mean, she has been on skates.
Yeah, and I was surprised they spent so much time on the skate thing, and it didn't get boring.
No,
so
that was nice.
It was interwoven with the stuff that was going on at Mrs. Hamilton's house.
Yeah, I think so
that's fun.
What this movie is wanting to do, as it is now, history notwithstanding, is to be a charming way to spend an hour and a half.
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
Certainly correct. Yeah, and there's a remake.
I know there's a remake.
Oh, you know? It's called The Preacher's Wife.
Yeah, and it's with Eddie Murphy, I believe.
No, Denzel Washington.
Oh, Denzel Washington.
So
yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. I really greatly enjoyed this movie.
Yes.
I also agree that it's mostly an excuse to spend some lovely time, but I do think that there's actually more going on in the movie than just fluff.
Yeah, it's good fluff. It's good solid fluff.
And I think it's intriguing. They called it the bishop's wife. I'm wondering if the remake actually goes into the woman's story a little bit more.
You're gonna have to go and see it, and
I will do that.
And I think with that,
that was my opinion,
and that was my opinion,
and we're sticking to it.